Hello, and welcome to our annual Tesla Tribute. My name is Marc Alessi, and I'm Executive Director of the Tesla Science Center at Wardenclyffe, site of the great inventor Nikola Tesla's only remaining laboratory. On January 7th, 1943, Nikola Tesla passed away after a lifetime dedicated to inventing technology for the benefit of humanity. Today, we're going to explore Tesla's life and work and how his inventions continue to shape technology of the present and the future. First, we're going to challenge you with some Tesla trivia. After that, stay tuned for the videos and entertainment we're presenting as part of the special Tesla Tribute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Vlez. I'm an exhibitor and longtime volunteer at the Tesla Science Center. And I'm really excited to be your game master today with some awesome Tesla trivia. You ready to test your knowledge on my friend Nikola Tesla? Let's see how you all score. All right, and this starts our Tesla trivia. The Tesla trivia. Our first question up. Which of the following did Nikola Tesla invent before he was 10 years old? Was it the crossbow, a frog catching device, motor powered by insects, or all of the above? Let's see how many of you can guess this and see what Tesla was up to. All right, looks like vast majority of you got all the above, and that is correct. Tesla was a very young inventor at a very young age. All right, and we got some scores coming in. Let's move on to our next question. And so as the slide shows, Tesla began inventing and experimenting at a very young age. In his autobiography titled My Inventions, he talked about exploring nature and the basic technology around him, like clocks, farming equipment, water wheels, and he drew upon those inspirations in many of his inventions. All right, and so our next question. What is considered one of Tesla's most important inventions? Was it the ballpoint pen, the telegraph machine, an air conditioner, or the alternating current induction motor? Let's see what the majority of folks are picking out there. All right, just a little bit longer to get your answers in. Love that picture of the Colorado Springs in the background there. Tesla was a bit of a showman. All right, perfect. Yeah, vast majority of you got it correct. The alternating current induction motor is what he is most important for. And here we are tabulating some of the scores there that are coming across. And yeah, so Tesla had invented the electromagnetic induction motor to generate electric power using alternating currents. His AC system of generating electricity is the basis of our modern power system, which is still in use today. What natural resource was first used to generate electricity using Tesla's AC motor in 1895? Was it the Atlantic Ocean, the Colorado River, the sun, or was it Niagara Falls? Got some answers coming in, and let's see if y'all get this. All right, perfect. That is correct. Niagara Falls. Even at a young age, which was interesting from the question before, Tesla always dreamed of harnessing the power of Niagara Falls, which he was able to accomplish in 1895 with his induction motors at the first hydroelectric power plant. On to the next question. Tesla's AC induction motor concept is used today in the engine of Tesla brand vehicles. Now, is that true or is that false? I think that one should be pretty easy. And that is correct. And you guys got it right. That is true. Hence the name Tesla Motors. Our next question up. What type of telecommunication was pioneered by Nikola Tesla? Was it the telephone, fax, radio, or television? Nice, that is perfect. That is correct. That is radio, and he is considered to be the father of radio. Our next true or false question. Nikola Tesla demonstrated one of the world's first remote controlled devices in 1898. Is that true or false? Let's see how you folks do on this one. And that is correct. That is true. I think we might have the slide coming up next on this one. I believe it was at tabulating some scores there. Yep, at Madison Square Garden, he did a demonstration where he operated a boat and he controlled it remotely. And it was one of the first examples of a remote control device, seen in action. And people were just blown away by it. If you could imagine, being 1898, people refused to believe that there was not somebody inside the boat making it work. They couldn't believe that he was operating it without wires. And on to our next question. What kind of lighting technology did Tesla help advance? Was it neon, incandescent, fluorescent, or was it all the above? All right, a couple more seconds. Let's see if you folks get this one. And the vast majority, that is correct. All of the above. In many of his laboratories, he used that type of lighting also to illuminate his laboratory. Tesla experimented with radiation in the late 1890s and produced what he called shadowgraphs, better known as what? Radiographs, dark matter, or X-ray images. All right, let's see if you folks get this one. And that is correct. Yep, back in the 1890s, around the same time as Roentgen and many other famous scientists, he was experimenting with X-ray images and radiation. And I think one of the slides coming up might actually have it. Tabulate some of the scores there of Tesla's foot, which is pretty far out from 1896. Tesla had a perfect picture of an X-ray image there, but he stopped playing around with X-ray pretty quickly, because he realized the dangers of the exposure to X-rays and the damage it could have on the body and surrounding tissue. Our next quiz coming up is, what is the name of Nikola Tesla's only remaining laboratory? Is it the Colorado Springs Experimental Station, Houston Street Laboratory, the Radio Wave Building, or Wardenclyffe? Fun little fact, the Radio Wave Building in New York City has a speakeasy in the basement of it. That is quite Tesla themed, which is pretty awesome. But the only remaining laboratory, that is correct, y'all got it right, is Wardenclyffe, which I think we have coming up here also. Yes, beautiful picture of the statue that was dedicated to us in 2013 by the Serbian people. And in the picture, if you look in the background, you'll see Tesla's laboratory still standing today, which is pretty awesome. Hard to make out from the picture, but in between the statue and the laboratory, that is where Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower had stood, his 18-story tower. The original foundation is still there. Tesla built an 18-story radio tower at Wardenclyffe that was also designed to transmit music, electric power, weather signals, or television. What was his tower also designed to transmit? Let's see how you folks do on this one. And that is correct, electric power. So that was one of his dreams for Wardenclyffe, was not only to send telegraph radio signals, but the transmission of electricity wirelessly from his Wardenclyffe tower. Now, unfortunately, Tesla's tower at Wardenclyffe was destroyed by the US government to prevent its use by spies. Is that one true or false? Controversial question. Was the tower destroyed to prevent its use by spies? True or false? Oh, y'all came back with that one pretty quick, which is great, which is false. So actually, the story for that one is more of an economic reason. Unfortunately, the property had been foreclosed on, and they were trying to recoup as much money as they could. So back in 1917, they had started the demolition of the tower to try and scrap it for its metal content on the cupola. Okay, another true or false for you. Tesla's last invention was an early form of helicopter. Is that true or false? One of his last inventions. Let's see what we come back with here. And that is correct. The vast majority had picked true. Great little patent picture here. So back in 1928, when he was 72 years old, his mind was still going, still inventing, and he came up with his patent for an apparatus for aerial transport. All right. Now, what iconic magazine placed Nikola Tesla on its front cover to honor his 75th birthday? Was it Time Magazine, National Geographic, Scientific American, or Esquire? All right, a few more seconds to get those answers in, and that. Oh, so most of you didn't get that one right, which we can't blame you considering it was so long ago. But he was in 1931 on the cover of Time magazine with an interview based upon his contributions to humanity back in July of 1931. So don't blame me for missing that one. I doubt anybody had subscription back then. And that concludes our Tesla trivia. Thank you for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed participating in the Tesla trivia. I'm going to kick it back now to Marc Alessi to continue with our Tesla tribute. Thank you so much.
Now that you've tested your general knowledge of Nikola Tesla, it's time to dig deeper. In this next video, we're going to discover more about Tesla's life, work, and impact on the world. Introducing the story of Nikola Tesla by internet influencer and news producer, Cindy Palm of Newsthink.
When you think about the greatest inventors of all time, there are a few names that come to mind. Henry Ford, the Wright brothers, Thomas Edison. But there's one name that is not as recognizable. When you plug your phone in, turn on the lights, or use the refrigerator, you have Nikola Tesla to thank. This is the story of the forgotten genius, and the story begins at the end. On January 7, 1943, a maid working at the New Yorker Hotel walked into room 3327, where she found the body of an 86-year-old man who called the hotel home for the past decade. Tesla died alone and broke. He lived off a diet of warm milk and crackers and was obsessed with feeding the pigeons outside. One of the greatest inventors of all time faded into obscurity and died penniless. There is a reason why this happened, which will become clear by the end of this story. Tesla was born in the town of Smiljan in present-day Croatia on July 10, 1856. He was born during a lightning storm. According to family legend, the midwife said halfway through the birth, "This child will be a child of darkness," to which his mother replied, "No, he will be a child of light." Little did she know how prophetic those words would be. When Tesla was 5, he witnessed his older brother fall from a horse and later die. This would haunt him for the rest of his life. As a child, he began seeing visions accompanied by flashes of light, confusing what was real and what was imaginary. This never went away. The visions spurred his ability to conceive inventions in his head in such detail that he didn't even need to draw them out. He explained how the designs were perfected in his mind in an article in 1919. Invariably, my device works as I conceived that it should, and the experiment comes out exactly as I planned it. In 20 years, there has not been a single exception. Tesla credits his mom for his interest in invention. Juka Mandic invented small household appliances in her spare time. She had an eidetic memory, the ability to recall an image from memory with high precision, and she passed this on to her son. Tesla's father was a priest and wanted him to become one too, but Tesla was interested in engineering. When he contracted cholera as a teen and nearly died, his father promised to send him to engineering school if he survived, and miraculously he did. He went to study in Austria at the Technical College of Graz, where he is said to have worked from 3 a.m. until 11 p.m. every day. Professors were worried that he would die from exhaustion. Tesla had a beautiful mind. He could perform calculus in his head and spoke 8 languages. He was a good student at the start, but would not finish school. He dropped out after becoming addicted to gambling and cut ties with his family so they wouldn't find out. His friends didn't know what happened to him either. They thought he drowned in a river. Tesla moved around Europe and eventually ended up in Budapest working as an electrician at a telephone company. While walking around a park in the city one day, he had an epiphany about developing a new way of generating electricity using alternating current. It would be his greatest invention that would change the world. I'll explain more about AC a little later. In 1882, he settled in Paris to work for the French branch of Thomas Edison's electric company. He started off installing indoor lighting, but the managers noticed his talents and had him doing more complicated work, designing and building dynamos and motors. He was soon traveling throughout Europe, fixing problems at other Edison branches. 2 years later, in 1884, Tesla's manager offered him a job at Edison Machine Works in New York City. He agreed and arrived in America with only 4 cents in his pocket because his money was stolen on the boat ride over. Tesla initially had a good impression of Edison. Edison was also impressed by Tesla, later saying, "I have had many hardworking assistants, but you take the cake." This mutual admiration didn't last. They would become bitter rivals. The two men disagreed over how electricity should be contained and delivered. Edison preferred direct current, which is a system where the electric charge only flows in one direction. Tesla was a fan of alternating current, in which the electric charge changes direction periodically. Changing directions is crucial to maintaining a steady supply of electricity because it does not overpower outlets. This means it can provide more power and transmit power over longer distances. It's the reason AC powers our homes and other large appliances, whereas DC powers smaller items like flashlights. But Edison didn't care about AC because it could have hurt the sales of direct current since he owned all the patents for DC. According to Tesla, a manager at Edison's company offered him a $50,000 bonus if he could improve some machines that ran on DC. When he did, the manager refused to pay up. Another account of the story has Edison telling Tesla, "You don't understand our American humor." Regardless of how it played out, Tesla quit and set off to form his own electric company the following year in 1885. But his investors showed little interest and decided to take the company and all of Tesla's patents, which they could do because Tesla had assigned the patents to the company in exchange for stock, which was now worthless. After losing his company, Tesla had to take a job digging ditches for $2 a day just to survive. But his fortunes would change. In 1887, Tesla invented an induction motor that ran on alternating current. The motor was the most efficient way to convert electricity to mechanical power. A version of it powers Tesla's vehicles, which took its name from the inventor. He patented the motor and showed it off the following year at the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. That caught the attention of George Westinghouse, a major player in the electric market who realized Tesla's AC motor might just be what he needed to complete his alternating current system and compete against Edison's DC system. So Tesla licensed the patents for the AC motor to Westinghouse for $60,000 and also received stock and royalties. Westinghouse hired him as a consultant for $2,000 a month, which is the equivalent of over $50,000 a month today. The War of the Currents began. Edison tried hard to try to discredit Westinghouse and Tesla. He secretly financed the electric chair that used alternating current to prove how dangerous AC was. Edison's company also publicly tortured animals to prove its point. In 1903, they electrocuted a circus elephant named Topsy and produced a film about it called Electrocuting an Elephant. Despite Edison's schemes, good things were happening for Westinghouse and Tesla. They underbid Edison and his newly formed company, General Electric, to illuminate the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893. The first all-electric fairs celebrated the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America. It was clear to the 27 million people who attended that AC would power the future. Their success continued when they beat out Edison's General Electric again to build the world's first alternating current power plant in Niagara Falls. The hydroelectric power station was a massive success and helped light up Buffalo, New York. The building of the plant also meant Tesla became a pioneer in renewable energy. His statue can be found at Niagara Falls today. Westinghouse and Tesla won the War of the Currents, and direct current was being phased out. problems. Westinghouse's company was running out of money and eventually went $10 million into debt. In 1897, he went to Tesla and asked if his royalties could be reduced in a desperate attempt to save the company. Tesla was so compelled passion for his friend that he ripped up his contract. He was grateful to Westinghouse for believing in him when no one else would. Tesla willingly walked away from $12 million in royalties, which in today's terms would be worth over $300 million. Had he held onto those royalties over time, he would have likely become the wealthiest person on the planet and the first person with a $1 billion net worth. That act of compassion for his friend, of tearing up his contract, saved Westinghouse. In return, Westinghouse paid Tesla $216,000 for the rights to use his AC patents forever. This is the equivalent of about $6 million today. With that money, Tesla became financially independent and set up a series of laboratories in New York for new projects, where he was visited by the rich and famous, including his close friend and one of the greatest American writers of all time, Mark Twain. This was his period of many inventions. He held over 300 patents in lifetime. He created an early version of neon lighting, the Tesla turbine, a bladeless turbine for vehicles. He pioneered X technology by experimenting with radiation. This is an X-ray of his own hand. Another standout invention was one of the first controls. In 1898, he controlled a miniature boat at Madison Square Garden in New York. It was so far ahead of its time that the crowd thought he was using magic to make it move. That would be the ancestor to today's remote-controlled drones. One of his most well-known inventions is the Tesla coil, a device that can produce large amounts of high-voltage electricity. Because of the coils, he discovered he could send and receive powerful radio signals when they resonated at the same frequency. Tesla was getting ready to broadcast his first radio signal, but disaster struck. A fire destroyed his lab in 1895. He lost years of research and equipment. Tesla didn't apply for a patent for the radio until 2 years later. The fire would be the turning point in his life that led to a downhill spiral. At the same time that he was working on radio, an Italian entrepreneur, Guglielmo Marconi, was also working on the radio in England. He tried to acquire patent rights in the US, but was turned down because it was too similar to Tesla's. However, things changed when Marconi was able to send the world's first transatlantic radio message in 1901 using 17 of Tesla's patents. Edison then threw his financial support behind Marconi. Tesla had no problem with Marconi's achievements, but in 1904, the U.S. Patent Office suddenly changed its mind and awarded Marconi a patent for the invention of the radio. There has never been a reason given for this decision, but the powerful financial backing Marconi received could explain it. Marconi went on to win the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1911, which was only possible due to Tesla's work. Tesla was furious and sued Marconi. The case dragged on in court for years and was only settled in Tesla's favor after his death. That radio incident negatively impacted the rest of Tesla's career. For example, Tesla was obsessed with bringing wireless communication to the world and built a huge wireless transmission station in Long Island, New York, called Wardenclyffe Tower. He imagined a world where we could send and receive messages wirelessly. He was, again, well ahead of his time. But financial backers did not have enough faith in his project. They pulled out and banked on Marconi's radio invention instead. This left Tesla in financial ruin. He had no choice but to abandon his dream project in 1905 and eventually lost Wardenclyffe Tower to foreclosure. Tesla's mental health deteriorated. He lived his last decade in the New Yorker Hotel, beginning in 1933. Westinghouse Corporation hired him as a consultant and paid for his room. He lived rent-free but died in debt. So why did one of the greatest inventors of all time fade into obscurity and die penniless? You could say Tesla was unlucky at times, like when the fire burned down his New York lab. But the main reason is because Tesla was not a capitalist. He made decisions that those with more business acumen would not have made, such as giving up his royalties for the AC motor. He wasn't concerned about money. He was concerned about the pursuit of science for the betterment of humanity. He wanted to change the world, and he did. Thanks in part to Elon Musk's company, people are starting to learn more about the man who inspired the company, a man whose inventions would power our entire planet. It's because of Tesla that modern society functions the way it does. Tesla's mother called him a child of light, and she was quite right.
Thanks so much for watching the story of Nikola Tesla. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Cindy Palm. If you like what you saw, subscribe to my new channel. I also started a Patreon where you can make a monthly contribution, and this will go a really long way toward helping this channel grow. See you soon.
I want to thank Cindy Palm of Newsthink for a video that brings to life both Tesla the man and Tesla the inventor. Through the story of Nikola Tesla, we see how his inventions permeate our lives. From the alternating current electrical system that we use daily to remote control, lighting, and radio. But even those who know about Tesla are surprised by the facts and history behind his work. In our next video, we're going to explore the lesser-known history of one of Tesla's greatest inventions, radio. I'm honored to present Joseph Sikorsky, director of Tower to the People, the award-winning documentary about Wardenclyffe, with an exclusive preview of his newest movie, Invisible Threads. Here's Joe Sikorsky to share the compelling true story behind Tesla, Marconi, World War I, and a mysterious radio station called Telefunken.
As we remember Nikola Tesla on this day, I thought it would be appropriate to share some of the work we are doing to help preserve his legacy. So I am pleased to provide a sneak peek of our soon-to-be released documentary, Invisible Threads, From Wireless to War. Tesla and his work at Wardenclyffe feature prominently in this film, which uses our new 3D renderings to provide never-before-seen perspectives of the laboratory and tower. These models will also be incorporated into some exciting upcoming projects, so please stay tuned. For Invisible Threads, we use the latest digital and AI technology to help bring the story to life. We constructed, restored, and enhanced old and damaged imagery to beautiful 4K resolution to accompany a part of history never fully told, while recreating lost artifacts for viewers to experience in amazing clarity. We hope you will enjoy the trailer, narrated by the great Tony Todd, which will be followed by some exclusive clips from the film.
While Tesla and Marconi competed in practical transatlantic wireless communication, there was already one company achieving it consistently.
The Marconi company really only had one serious rival in the early years, and this was a German company called Telefunken.
The Navy wanted total control of radio communication.
They've decided that the German system is the best system.
You think you know the history of radio? It's time to learn the whole funkin' story.
The receiving station at Sayville was one of the key links in the German global communication system.
These submarines seem to know where ships are coming from that have contraband on them. How are they getting this information?
The power that changed the world would come from unseen waves.
What happened at the Telefunken site is one of the most fantastic untold stories.
Spies, subterfuge, and America's entry into global conflict.
It's been a secret for so many years.
All linked
Telefunken was both embraced by some and also looked upon with suspicion by others.
There were nefarious things going on at the radio station.
Tesla, unbeknownst to him, is at the heart of all this.
A dark undercurrent threatens to divide the nation.
It was a time of great fear.
Suspicion, harassment, and violence.
The nation's in full combat.
David was in World War I before the rest of the country.
A station that transitioned a nation from wireless to war.
J.P. Morgan has blocked him from completing Wardenclyffe. Not only did he not provide the funds that Tesla needed to complete it, but he stopped other people from investing in it. So Tesla was stuck.
The lab building appears abandoned as the inventor struggles to reopen its doors. To achieve this, much of Tesla's time has recently been spent at the New York Edison Company's Waterside Station.
The stories that Tesla and Edison were enemies is really a myth. While they were certainly rivals and probably weren't all that fond of each other, they did have a respect for each other.
Tesla is hard at work developing what he believes to be his next revolutionary invention, a bladeless disc turbine that operates at a staggering 50,000 RPMs.
When Tesla talked about having 50,000 EMs, he was mocked by the engineers and scientists of his day.
The problem with Tesla's bladeless turbine is that the incredible speeds cause the blades to warp.
If Tesla can solve the problem, he will earn the financing to complete his Wardenclyffe wireless project, which will also cement his role in radio history.
From Tesla's point of view, what's most important to him is that he wants to be known as the inventor of radio. And he's less interested in being the actual person who builds all the radio stations all over the world. So even though Marconi has built stations on every continent and Telefunken has built stations on every continent, Tesla wants the recognition. That's more important than the actual operations.
But the delay in Tesla's grand vision for wireless has given his competitors an edge.
Tesla's wireless system was a part of a much bigger system that Tesla's planning. Tesla's planning on sending voice, pictures, power, electrical lighting by means of wireless. Marconi was just trying to send Morse code.
Invisible Threads also explores the legal battle surrounding the invention of radio. Here's another exclusive clip.
Nikola Tesla, who has filed a separate action against Marconi, claims the coupled tuned circuits his Tesla coil produces is the key to wireless communication.
Many people were now using the Tesla oscillator, including Marconi. He didn't totally understand what he was using. Marconi's first patent was based on a Hertz spark gap system. When Zenix testified, Zenix said that Tesla had this continuous wave frequency and Marconi had this pulse frequency, so Marconi's system could never be used. When it comes down to what's very interesting is John Stone's testimony, who said, I studied all of the different systems, and the simple fact of the matter is they're all based on Tesla's system. He says in his testimony, I didn't realize how important Tesla was until I actually went back into the research and looked at his patents and looked at what he actually did and realized when we were using oscillators and Tesla coils that it was really Tesla's system. So even in 1915, scientists of the day didn't realize Tesla's accomplishment, and the reason was because he had sunk everything into Wardenclyffe, and Wardenclyffe was this ghost he was unable to launch.
Tesla's absence from the wireless sector may negatively impact the ruling.
As part of our Tesla tribute today, here's a bonus clip from Invisible Threads, From Wireless to War.
In March of 1916, a tower in nearby Shoreham, New York, was deteriorating.
The newspapers said that the tower looked like a giant Martian from an H.G. Wells novel.
Tesla has sunk all into Wardenclyffe. He has put hundreds of thousands of dollars in, and he's hit a brick wall.
And the walls are crumbling at the site that has been partially vandalized and looted. his finances worse than ever. Tesla wonders if his relationship with Telefunken has caused a backlash.
The split is occurring in the world. You have the scientists and you have the warriors. So there's a war going on because generals are fighting, and you've got this terrible World War I taking place. But at the same time, you have scientists who are internationally linked to each other, and they like each other. They don't want to be part of this war.
Tesla is forced into bankruptcy. Dean to look forward if there's any hope to save his Navy Captain Richmond P. Hobson has always offered practical advice.
So through the years, Hobson kept insisting, come on, Nicky, send your remote-control boat to the U.S. Navy, could use it.
Termed a teleautomaton, it has been on display at Wardenclyffe since the early 1900s.
His invention utilized radio, remote control, and robotics, also a primitive logic gate.
Alterations to the original design create new possibilities.
Nikola Tesla experimented with his teleautomaton nearby here in Ensemble. One of the proposed uses was that it could be used as a guided torpedo.
As America inches closer to war, Tesla speaks with reporters on the use of electricity in future conflicts. According to local legend, Tesla illustrated one such use a short distance from Wardenclyffe.
My grandfather, Ray Daniel Hagerman, had witnessed a demonstration of Tesla. He grew up on Hagerman Landing Road in Rocky Point. I don't think he was an invited guest. I think he happened to see all the fancy cars, uniforms, etc., and just decided there's something going on the beach. I'm going to go see what it is. Nikola Tesla invited military brass from the Navy and Army to witness a remote-control boat demonstration. They came down to Hagerman Landing Road, went to the beach, and launched the remote weapons boat, and then launched the target boat.
You can see the results of this demonstration, as well as our extensive new research into this previously unexplored topic. We hope you have enjoyed this exclusive preview of Invisible Threads, from wireless to war. And we look forward to sharing more exciting Tesla-related content with you in 2022.
We owe a debt of gratitude to filmmaker Joseph Sikorsky for adding to our knowledge of Tesla's true impact. Films like Invisible Threads reveal little-known details about history and Tesla's influence in our past, present, and future. One of my favorite Tesla moments is more well-known, and it changed history. The moment Tesla tore up his royalty contract with Westinghouse, ensuring that AC power will be affordable and accessible to all. This selfless act stands as a tribute to Tesla's lifelong commitment to advance technology for the benefit of humanity. In his honor, we present a musical performance of The Man Who Sold the World by our longtime supporters, Mano Divina and the Divine Hand Ensemble.
And now the mayor of the city of New York, the Honorable F.H. LaGuardia.
I've been honored to be asked to read a tribute to a great American, Nikola Tesla, written by another great American, Louis Adamy, both natives of what we know as Yugoslavia, but coming from different parts. They were friends. On last Thursday night, here in our city of New York, a man who was 87 years of age died in his humble hotel room. His name was Nikola Tesla. He died in poverty, but he was one of the most useful and successful men who ever lived. His achievements were great and are becoming greater as time goes on. Nikola Tesla could have amassed hundreds of millions of dollars, could have become the richest man in the country, in the world, if he wished for riches. He didn't. He did not care for anything, did not have time for anything that spelled success for too many people. Nikola Tesla was a great humanitarian, a pure scientific genius, a poet in science. He did extraordinary, amazing, miraculous things during his life among us. He did them simply to serve mankind. And for his services, he did not want anything. Money, he didn't care for it. Honor, who was anybody to honor anybody else? That was his attitude. Gratitude, he did not expect or demand. Nikola Tesla did not care to be paid for anything he did for the human race. He simply functioned according to his natural genius, which came to him in the land of his birth, Yugoslavia, as a son of his mother. Now, this extraordinary man is dead, or so they say. The papers on Friday told he died. His body was found still on the bed in his little hotel room in this city. And the newspapers published obituaries and editorials summarizing his life and work, and they told of his personal habits and eccentricities. Tesla, they say, is dead. In a funeral parlor in this city, there is all that is left of his person. The funeral services will be held on next Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock in the Cathedral of St. John. People will come, yes, many people from all walks of life, humble, unknown people, and people who are famous, scientists and industrialists and others. And then will be all right. It is the customary thing to do. But Tesla is not dead. Tesla is not really dead. Only his poor, wasted body has been stilled. The important part of Tesla lives in his achievement, which is great, almost beyond calculation, an integral part of our civilization, of our daily lives, of our current war effort. Today, we on this program do not mourn Tesla. We do not honor him, for we know that Nikola Tesla would not care for that. Why mourn Tesla? His life is a triumph. We are in the studio today, just thinking of Tesla, talking of him among ourselves, and to you who are listening to us, and we are playing some music and singing a few songs which we would think Nikola Tesla would have liked. We celebrate his achievement on Earth, his great triumph, which is our triumph, the triumph of all the people of the world. We celebrate his contributions to our life, to the sum total of civilization and human potentialities in America and everywhere, which will be as permanent as man himself. We are talking about Nikola Tesla, celebrating the fact that we belong to the same species to which he belonged while he was among us. He is a feather in the cap of the whole human race, and Yugoslavia and America can be proud of him. A few years ago, a fellow scientist at Tesla, Dr. A.B. Barron, also an American, wrote about him in his book on the induction motor, the motor which owes its existence to Tesla, and which now is in the very center of nearly everything that moves on wheels in this country. Mr. Barron said, were we to eliminate from our industrial world the result of Tesla's work, the wheels of industry would cease to turn, and our electric trains and cars would stop. Our towns would be dark, our mills and factories dead and idle. So far-reaching is his work that it has become the warp and woof of industry. Should Tesla's work be suddenly withdrawn, darkness would prevail, and we would slump into barbarism. So it is true. Tesla is not dead. He is very much alive among us. Among us is a triumph of his life, his achievement, which we celebrate here. We do not honor him. We are gathered here to feel this triumph of one human life and to share our feelings with you all.
We hope this tribute inspired you and gave insight on the many ways that Nikola Tesla improved life for all of us through innovation. At the Tesla Science Center, it's our mission to develop Wardenclyffe into a transformative global science center that embraces Tesla's bold spirit of invention, provides innovative learning experiences, fosters the advancement of new technologies, and preserves his legacy in the Tesla Museum. We welcome you to join us on this journey as a learner, a member, a volunteer, or a supporter. Visit us at teslasciencecenter.org to learn more. Thank you.